help him with the spectacle of the game. Too much holding down, looking for cheap interference penalties rather than getting the attacking team to the ball quickly. People want to see more tries, but if this is not addressed, then there won't be.
Alan Witt says, bugger. A lack of composure on final tackles and passing to the opposition when breaking through contributed to the loss, but Salford took their chances and deserved the win. Some positives though, Leaning showed some great speed out of dummy half, Mellor with 2 well-taken tries, some size in the pack. This team will improve but need to cut out the silly errors.
Yeah, particularly Mellor's second try. The first try was the sort of line we know he can run, but his second try he had to take a difficult pass as well as evade a defender coming across that. So that was really good from Alex Mellor. Scoots28 Mac said, an enjoyable match to watch, really impressed with Josh Jones other than the penalty milking, thought he made great yardage and was defensively good.
Paul Ludo Lewis said, really enjoyed this game, although I knew I would when Phil Clark said we wouldn't see a repeat of the 9-try game from last year, and there were exactly 9 tries. The Devils looked clinical in attack, which was the difference. However, even not watching Widnes, this game made me depressed about them. Salford showed that Huddersfield are still a bottom half team, and Widnes are even shit than I thought last week. John Ludo. Final word on this one then, Mark, we'll give to your namesake, Mark Hogan.
Mark Hogan says, thank God for that. It was a crucial 2 points for us with the first 4 fixtures we have. I thought we played well, our game management was much better, and Gareth O'Brien was outstanding. The Josh Jones incident is what it is. It's been done before and you will more likely see it again. It does need stamping out, but if it's there to use, I think players are going to carry on doing it.
So, before we get into the stats and stuff, let's talk about this, because I've been trying to wrap my brains for a way to solve this whole throwing the ball into someone who's trying to, who's getting up from having been involved in a tackle thing. And it almost, to me, comes out of something that referees are going to have to interpret themselves. There will be legitimate circumstances where a player plays for it and aims at the player, and with the Josh Jones one, it certainly looked like the ball went forward and into the Huddersfield player. Well, that's the
point. It stops there. The Josh Jones one. It was because a forward pass.
Exactly.
So how Danny Brough could not be interfering with a forward pass?
Precisely.
It was because it was forward.
Mm-hmm. So I agree. But then there's other times where it's not as cut and dry as that, and the referee's going to have to look at it and go, no, the player was making a genuine effort to get out of the way, that's just unfortunate, reset, replay the ball, or penalise the guy who's playing for the penalty. That's my standing on it, is we're going to have to give the referees the ability to make, or imbue them with the confidence to make a decision based on what they see. If it's a player playing the ball, looking to gain a penalty and gain that advantage, do we consider that to be unfair, or whether it was just an accident and we reset and tap and go?
Well, whilst there are rules in the game that you can sort of pick up on unsportsmanlike conduct type stuff like this, the offside interference rules aren't really there to be interpreted at the moment, are they?
No, true.
So it would be a change to the laws of the game a little bit if we're bringing in an interpretation to that rule, but in certain instances it's so blatant. I mean, Twitter blew up, the commentators knew it was all going on, the players knew what was going on, everyone knew what was going on at that instance, and when it's like that, either a video ref has a word or a touch judge comes on or something to take the referee out of the moment for a second, because a penalty's been awarded either way in that circumstance, or something's been awarded either way.
Yeah, so you've got the time to do it, haven't you?
I just don't like there's a difference between one save, which is a little bit crafty, but there's a genuine penalty there, and one like that where he's thrown it forward, and it just makes it so hard to see for the integrity of the game. I don't like to see players cheating. Now I've seen this sort of stuff creeping in. There was a dive in this game as well from one of the players in the first half. I can't bring my mind to remember exactly who it was, but we've seen a lot of stuff. We saw some antics from the Catalan side. We've seen all teams across the board with this sort of passing from the ruck. I mean, the first time I ever saw it was Michael McAlorum did it to a guy who'd made the tackle and then got sort of in between McAlorum and the man who was playing the ball, so McAlorum fell over him and knocked the ball on into the game. Well, not on, because it went backwards.
Passed the ball into him,
and got a penalty given, and the player wasn't really deliberately interfering with play sort of thing. And and this was probably 3 years ago, and I said at the time, I don't want to see that sort of stuff growing. And it's grown, and other players have obviously done it all the time, and it's probably happened for a lot longer than we remember. But there's been 3 instances in the first 6-8 games of Super League this season,
which makes it more common, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So,
and the ones that we've seen have been
blatant, and
like players have been trying to be out of the way. Like if it's a player running back from an offside position and the ball hits him when he's not looking at the play of the ball area,
I can give you that.
That would be a penalty to the attacking side. Still, for the player just being offside, it wouldn't be a deliberate attempt by the player in the ruck to hit that guy. He'd have to do some good skills to be doing that. But when it's a guy who's right next to you, who's moved to stand behind you, or put himself as flat as he can along the side, and you've deliberately done that, then the refs should be able to interpret that. So adding a level of interpretation in, well, there's already plenty of interpretations in the game anyway, and that's what their role is there for. And to be honest, respect their interpretations more, and then it's not a problem, is it?
So statistically then, what do we see in this one?
Well, can I just say
carry on,
about the game first?
I thought we just talked about that one incident. Yes, carry on. Go ahead.
Because I just wanted to say it was the greatest, most entertaining game that I'd seen.
Until Sunday afternoon.
That was the best. That was the best, obviously. But that wasn't in terms of pure entertainment and joy of just watching a game of rugby league with no pressure on it either way, and just enjoying the sport for the sport.
Yeah.
For me as a neutral fan on this one, it's the most enjoyable game I've seen so far this season. Certainly of the televised games that I've watched on Sky. And so credit to both sides for serving up a really entertaining match that had a little bit of everything.
It did, didn't it?
People touched on Salford's good game management, and their kicking game and that sort of thing was a lot more measured and sensible, and they got through their sets a lot more well. And the stats will represent that to a little bit of an extent, how they played a more contained game than Huddersfield. But Huddersfield, through some silly passes, they got a little bit excited a couple of times with some of they did some great play, made some great breaks, got lots of players free into space, but Salford managed to scramble and get in the way of passes and stuff that didn't necessarily need to be thrown by the Huddersfield players. I think I remember Hinchcliffe doing one particularly in the second half that turned the field position around, and Carney went up the other end. It was right near the end actually, because it was when Carney pulled I think it was his hamstring strained or something like that. But yeah. What about you?
I've only seen the tries, mate.
Right.
Looking back on it, I was up at work until a bit later on Thursday night, so I didn't have a chance to watch it all the way through. But there was some fabulous tries on offer.
Yep.
So, statistics.
Well, the combined stats for the two teams saw the most busts, breaks, and meters of any game in this early season reckoning. The key stat that explains the scoreboard is 4 tries each, but 7 successful goals for Salford and only 2 for Huddersfield. Is that right? Because someone said there was 9 tries.
1,
no,
2,
there was 8,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, okay. Other stats did balance themselves out a little bit. Huddersfield made a few more metres overall, but Salford made them a little bit better average gain. Salford conceded 2 more penalties, but Huddersfield made 3 more errors. Huddersfield's team tackle success was a little bit better, but Salford were more active at making marker tackles. One standout was that Salford were 9-8 in breaks. Huddersfield were 12-2 in successful offloads, showing the Giants had a freer style of play, which didn't always give the results they wanted over Salford's more contained approach.
We've not said it for a while, but we used to say it quite a lot in Series 1 of Super League Pod.
Break speed offloads.
There you go. Individually, who stood out for us then?
Justin Carney, 8 tackle busts, 188 metres, 2 clean breaks, and Greg Johnson on the other wing, 169 metres, 2 clean breaks, no glass. Chris Wellham, 156 metres. Junior Sal, 1 try, 122 metres and 2 clean breaks. Gareth O'Brien, though, was probably the key man with 2 tries, 1 try assist, and 7 out of 7 with the boot, which was crucial.
Absolutely. And for Huddersfield,
for the Giants, Lee Gaskell, 155 metres and 3 clean breaks. He was really popping up on the end of some interesting attacking plays for Huddersfield in this game. Danny Brough, 3 try assists, as creative as ever. Jerry McGilvery with a try, 5 tackles, 109 metres. Akuma Tai with a try and 182 metres. Phil Clark on Sky highlighted his try scoring antics, but for Akuma Tai, it's a middle unit forward. But exceptional try scorer. Alex Mellor, 2 tries, 134 metres, 2 clean breaks. So well done to one of our old faves.
Can't talk highly for this kid. He's going to be a special player if he continues to develop. Right, so it's a Friday night then. It was the first trip out in Super League for Lee Centurions, but Leeds edged to their first win of the season by overcoming Lee in that game. The visitors held a 15-8 break at half-time, with Liam Sutcliffe kicking a drop goal after Adam Cuthbertson, Ryan Hall and Jimmy the Kindhorse had gone over for tries. Lee's first half tries came from Matty Dawson and Mitch Brown. Ben Crooks got a third Centurions try after the break, but a Sutcliffe penalty proved enough to seal the victory for the Leeds Rhinos, and Tyler Casfan was the first to get in touch with us on this one.
It's a great game to watch. Lee much better energy levels than last week. Leeds still lacking in attack, but defence much improved from last year. Sutcliffe's 40-20 was as good as a try. No one will have an easy game away at Lee.
Scoots 28 Max, she said, only saw the last 30. Can't decide if Lee were massively improved from last week or if Leeds are still poor from last season. Oh well, they'll play us soon and look great.
Chris Macy said, another entertaining feisty encounter with an added spot the ball competition to kick things off for everyone. Bit of a knock-on-a-thon. It almost felt like every kick in general play there was a knock-on. It'd be interesting to see the error stats for this one. Good intensity, and Lee were far better in attack in the second half with some good movement. 2 entertaining games from 4. So far, so good. Lucky Leeds.
Aidan Stalker said, I was worried for Lee when Leeds scored those 2 tries in the first half, but fair play to them for digging in and making a game of it. As much as I enjoyed how close it was, I couldn't help but notice both sides lacked quality. If only Lee could have got the ball out to marvellous Matty Dawson more often. Still, I find myself shouting Lee on at the end, so I came away entertained. Shoddy and Mungo
says, Parcell looked a quality addition, but I thought Leeds needed direction at half-back. Surely Lily deserves a chance. Lee still looked like a championship side to me, even with the big names they've brought in.
Colin Render, who's a Leeds fan, came in touch and said it wasn't pretty, but it was good to grind out a win. Again, some positives to be taken from the game, but still plenty to work on. If Lee play like that every week, they will and should come out on top in other games. Mitchell Dart
says, glad to get a win.
Don't let us distract you.
Mitchell Dart says,
carry on, man.
Glad to get a win, but the worries of attack are still there. 5th tackle options at times again were non-existent. Right now we're playing like a team that wants to be back in the middle 8. Wants to be back-to-back middle 8 champions.
There you go. Hey, back-to-back is still back-to-back. Mark Steeler said, toothless, clueless attack, poor recruitment, and a coach found out shines through once again. I presume he's talking about McDermott.
Yeah, he's a Leeds fan.
Jukes.
Dr. Bob Phillips said, win, Hall scoring a try and displaying his bum, Jimmy the Kindhorse threatening to overtake the admirable Abler as my favourite second row come centre, Cuthbo the sleek back to his 2015 delights, and Sutcliffe taunting with the best and worst kick plays of the season all in one game. Lee looked like a Super League team though, with their environmentally friendly repair, reuse and recycling of other clubs' cast-offs, and made it hard.
He's dropping bombs, is Dr. Bob. Fatboy Rob said, I didn't watch or listen to the game, but as a Yorkshireman, I wanted to give a big shout out to Plucky Leeds for scraping a win and making it into the top 8, winky face.
Rich Wilkinson said, solid first half from Leeds. Parcell, Cuthbo and the Kindhorse all looked good. Sutty had a few poor moments but came up with some nice plays. Second half was a shocker, but we'll take the win. Lee will turn a few teams over at home.
Paul Ludo Lewis simply says, wine at rugby league, get the fuck out. that was Beaumont, wasn't it, with his glass of red?
Yeah.
There you are.
Tell you what though, they're both taking this losing weight thing seriously.
Well, I don't think Kukash needed to ship much timber anyway, but Beaumont, you've got to give him credit. Yeah. He looks like a different man, doesn't he?
Yeah, Cutthroat Jake said, was never going to be easy, but Leeds did enough for the 2 points. We were brave defensively and showed promise going forward. Parcell and Cuthbertson developing a good partnership, solid first hit out from Maguire, and Ablett rolled back the clock. On this showing, we'll finish in the top 8.
And final word on this one we'll give to BP Loftus. this enjoyable game to watch as a neutral. Good of Lee to put some effort into the pre-match. Leeds looked pretty much in control for most of the game, but still miles away from the 2015 side. Parcell looked to be sparking them, especially with disorganised markers. Lee's forwards again looked old, and please use your influence at Sky Sports to get them to stop showing the owners every 5 bloody minutes. Also, get shut of Eddie. I'm not sure how much influence you think we have at Sky.
We have no influence, but I do.
But we record a podcast on a dictaphone, so let that be a guide for you.
I do agree that constantly showing of owners and coaches and people who aren't actually involved in the playing action.
Yeah. They do make me curious about who the Natalie attired bloke with the man